Welcome back to Bloodline Bikers, and in today's video I'm here to tell you why sport bikes are dead and sport tourers are the future. So let's get onto this video. Sport bikes since 2025, sales have gone down by 25% in the UK, and people don't want to believe me, but obviously you guys can feel free to check into yourself. Sales on sport bikes specifically since Euro 5 emissions have come out, have completely fallen. More and more people are opting for things like this, which is a ZZR 1400, which is a sport tourer, the H2 SX, Tracer 900s, Suzuki GSX 1000s, and the Honda V1000s, the BMW R1200Ts. You know, there's so many different variants that people are opting for. The number one being the BMW R1200, the tourer one, purely because nobody wants sport bikes anymore. And I'm here to tell you the reason for that. Number one, the riding position. The riding position, as you can see, the handlebars are quite low on this. It's no fun to ride for long distances for many people. And I'm not just gonna sit here and say not everyone can ride for long distances, because people can. But there's a reason why so many people have a sport bike and say they can't ride them no more. It's either due to ill health, it's due to just their bodies can no longer take the riding position, or they want to tour in comfort, or they just want a bigger displacement engine, which you can't get in these. These are maximum 1000cc, and now they're starting to make them 900, 800, 700, which is more appealing for people who can't take the weight of the thousands between their legs, or it's too heavy for them. So it's become a lot more appealing for people now. But the riding position is the one that does a lot to your wrists. And then, for instance, if you work in a job, building job, machining job, any kind of job, especially power tools, you'll probably know the vibration through your hands, the last thing you want to be doing is then getting on a bike that causes significant vibration through your wrists, or, you know, a bike that's gonna hurt your wrist even more. Because if you're a builder or just someone that deals in power tools, a drill, anything like that, riding a sport bike is going to hurt them wrists a lot more, and it's not very good, especially if you ride as a form of transport. Secondly, storage. As many of you guys know, sport bikes lack storage. Even up here, this one doesn't have much storage under the pillion cover because it's got the metal alarm in there, and you just don't have no storage on a sport bike. That's just the facts. You do see a lot of people who add panniers to them to try and throw them over that you can buy online to go away, because it's their only bike, they've got no choice. But you can see when you've got to travel far distance, that's not practical. It definitely is not. You know, and that's another reason why people don't like these, and why people are opting for things like this, which I'll get onto in a minute. Why people are opting for sport tourers and other bikes. But the third one is insurance costs as well. On a sport bike, fairings are very expensive. Sport bikes in general are expensive when things go wrong. You've got to remember, these are high revving race engines derived from racing. So of course, people are going to want to go fast. And what comes with fast is either a lack of experience, or you're going to end up in the back of a car or in a ditch. Then what is going to happen? A lot of people buy these bikes out new. Most of the time, 99% of the time, the bike is wrote off. It's classed as a category N or write off completely in this country, because the frame usually gets bent, which then means it's structural, which means it can't be back on the road. But if it isn't, and it is just the fairings, then insurance companies, for instance, if you wrecked one of these with all the carbon on it, it's going to cost a lot of money, which is why insurance companies end up charging you through the roof for a sport bike. You guys got to bear in mind as well, a lot of people that want to buy these are people who have just passed their test. And then what do they go and do? Ride them like an idiot, end up crashing on them. Like I saw the other day, there was a boy on the other side of the road from me, and he was flying down the left-hand lane, and a van pulled into the left lane, and he went straight into the back of it, and that was on a Yamaha, the new R1, straight into the back of the van. And he was laid up flat on the road. The amount of police, air ambulance, everything that was landing on that road, closed the whole road, because some idiot couldn't control his speed and had gone into the back of the van, and it looked very serious. His friend that was behind him, which you could see was off the bike, on the floor, even the police and paramedics running over to him on the floor, he wasn't responding. I don't know what's happened. I don't know the outcome yet, but I'm sure we're going to find out later on. But it just goes to show you why insurance is so high, because most people are likely to have an accident, and it's very hard to not lose your license on these. Very, very hard. Okay, these are very quick because they're light, agile, race inspired, rev high. People then go and remap them, make them even quicker, and can't handle the power. And not only that, they take it out of the limits of the manufacturer for what the ABS traction control can actually handle, which then means some people have removed the ABS completely on this, which is why then they don't think quick enough for the speed they're doing. And then a car will pull out in front of them, they're going to hit the brakes, traction control, ABS is off, because if you put slick mode on, that's all off. And then bang, your brakes lock up, you're going into the back of anything, or you're coming sliding off it going around a bend. Then what is most people going to do? Try and claim off the insurance, if they survive, that is. And the insurance then have to fork out, and then who has to pay the bill? All the other people that ain't having the accidents. People like me, who insure my bikes, while my insurance premium goes up from idiots like who ride like bellends on the road. That's who has to fork out for the cost of that when they're having a claim to repair their sport bikes. This is the problem. Not only that, you've then got the potholes in the UK. Potholes, our roads are not fit for a sport bike. Many people don't want to accept that, but it's the truth. Realistically, let's think real terms, you can't ride the speed of this bike, so it is a pointless bike. When you think of our roads, 70 miles an hour, maximum 60 on a single lane carriageway, 20 mile an hour the speed limits in certain roads, or 30, some 40, some 50. The maximum we're allowed up to is 70. This exceeds that 3 times over. So you got to work it out. Does it make perfect sense? And at a speed of 80, 90 on a bike like this, even 120, you hit the wrong pothole in the road. Even on the motorways, our roads are completely messed up, broken up. Potholes here, there, everywhere you go down a country lane. As you know, Waze has got a habit for taking people down country lanes. You haven't got the tires for them. You take a bend wrong, or it's wet, or gravel on the road, you're going to slip out. And yes, people will say, it's got traction control ABS. That's okay. But it's there to help you. It's not going to stop you when you go to corner and you have to lean with these. You can't keep them upright and try and turn. So the risk of coming off this is very, very high. Our roads are not suited for sport bikes. If we lived in Germany on the Autobahn, perfect road for it. Now the Americans will say they love sport bikes, but then you guys have the road for it. You have a lot of highways. In the UK, we don't have a lot of highways. We don't have them sort of roads for sport bikes. We have a lot of country lanes. Country lanes, we live around a lot of mud, grass, Greenland. You know, all green. We don't have busy highways, highways. Our highways are always gridlocked with traffic, some debris in the road somewhere, cars braking, someone not knowing what they're doing, someone switching lanes without an indicator, and our roads don't last that long. Or you've got some mobile speed cameras, police somewhere, who will engage you. And they are on it now. They will engage you if you're flying down and your plate's flipped or anything. They are not playing about this summer. They are engaging bikers. They are at the ready. So it doesn't make viable sense for this. Now, the reason people are going to sport tourers is purely because of one reason. They're more comfortable. You can see here the bars are a lot higher up than this. So it puts less strain on your wrists. And then obviously the higher are you up on your wrist, the more comfortable you are up here on your back. Now I've ridden this many, many miles before and I've had no issues, but I also had a comfy seat on here, which I've got under there. I took it off to put the seat cowl back on. And this is a perfect blend of power, comfort and practical. Now, if many of you guys don't know, the ZZR 1400 can also carry panniers. Yes, you can have panniers on there. I actually had them on there and I took them off. I didn't like them. Okay, I just don't like panniers on any of my bikes. That's why I bought the GS to be able to do that. I did have it on there and I completely removed them. I had different exhausts on, as I told you guys in another video. I removed them as well. Put Scorpions on because the guy who had all that on it. But I chose to make it like this, more subtle, have that more aggressive look, blacked out everywhere, black indicators, smoked out lights, blacked out front screen, xenon headlights, just black it out completely. But this is cheaper on insurance, for one. It's more comfortable. This is containable for the speed. You don't have to use the power all the time. But when you want to, this bike is lightning quick. I mean, lightning quick. I've had this remapped and it's 190 bhp at the crank and it's pushing 180 at the rear wheel. It is lightning fast, this bike, lightning quick now. And I've had the secondary butterflies removed, which this thing just wants to lift. I should never have done it. They warned me against it. They said the torque becomes uncontrollable, and they're completely right. It is, since I've had it remapped, and this bike is lightning quick. It will wipe out S1000s. Gen 3s, Gen 1, Gen 2, this bike will piss all over them. No questions asked. But, of course it would. It's a 1400cc. I've had it remapped. It presses the same bhp as what your S1000 Gen 4s are pushing, and it's also got 120 something Newton meters at the rear wheel. Sport bikes don't come with that, and that's from it being mapped. It is crazy, crazy fast, but it's comfortable. But you can also ride it comfortable. You don't have to be in a rush. Where on a sport bike, you see a lot of people hammering it about. There isn't a lot of people, these people say, oh, I find sport bikes comfortable, but they are traveling at warp speeds to get home. I tell you something now, please tell me the truth of any of you that watch this video. Are any of you traveling at speed limits on this bike and just riding for what you like to say, I don't know, 250 miles, 500 miles traveling at speed limits? I don't think you are, okay? Bikers don't travel at speed limits, but you're definitely not traveling at the legal speed limit on a sport bike. Why? Because it's going to become very uncomfortable. Tell me how comfortable you are traveling 500 miles on a sport bike, because I could tell you right now you are not going to be comfortable traveling the speed limit on a sport bike. It's going to get draining, mind-boggling. You're going to start getting irritable in the heat, geared up, riding a bike, because these Americans like to say, oh, but you guys don't ride in gear. That's another thing. When you ride in gear, try riding a sport bike out in the hot sun for a long distance for many hours, for say, I don't know, 3-4 hour ride, far distance, all geared up riding a sport bike at the speed limit. And let's see how comfortable you get, because I can almost guarantee you're not going to ride that at the speed limit. You're going to wish you had had another bike. Most people that say sport bikes are comfortable is because they can't afford another bike to have 2 bikes. I am in a fortunate position. I can afford to own every single bike I want. Adventures, sport tourers, sport bikes, whatever I want. Cruisers. Many people don't have that luxury. But this bike is one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of sport bikes. This and the Hayabusa is more practical for someone like me than a sport bike. And let me just show you guys what I mean. When you see me sitting on this, look at the difference. Okay, this is my sport tourer. Look at my wrists. I'm up, okay? That's the position you want to be in. Now on the S1000, I'll show you in a second, I'm down here. I don't want to be like that. This is how you want to be on a sport bike. You want to be up like this, and this is how it is. You've got the bar risers on this as well. So your bar risers lift it up. It's more comfortable seating position with the tank. And when I have the comfy seat on, it's a lot more comfortable. But the only problem I don't have the comfy seat on it, it's because I can't have the seat can. I think it looks much more tidy with the seat cowl on. I mean, this seat is quite hard like a pancake, but anyhow, but this bike is extremely, extremely quick. This is not a toy. I warn anybody, if you are planning to get one of these or you're considering buying an S1000, if you're on my age, coming up in your 40s, buy the ZZR over the S1000. If you've got a lot of riding experience, buy this one. You will not regret it. Do not buy the S1000 or ride them both. And the ZX14R Performance Sport is even quicker. Okay, that's a lot quicker. That is what, 200 bhp? And remapped, it's an absolute animal. And that's got traction control and ABS. Bear in mind, this one doesn't have traction control or ABS. I wanted one without all that because I don't like being restricted. And obviously I didn't like also the ABS module that always goes out, and it's very hard to source, very expensive. I don't need any of that. I come from a generation of riding with nothing of that. So for me, I don't need any of that. But this bike is an absolute animal because there is nothing to control you. You have all the power you want to go. That's why I don't like these kind of bikes, because I don't like being restricted. Yes, you can turn it all off, but I shouldn't have to. This bike, I start it, I can go. It's very, very simple. I can ride it however I want. I've got nothing there. It's just me and the bike. Very, very simple. And this is a 2007 model. So this was before the ABS. ABS came out in 2008. This one has none of it, and this is the reason I wanted that. And like I said, this is a lot more comfortable for me. When I want a sport bike, even my wife knows, When it comes to us going out, my friends always say to me, you got the S1000, why didn't you bring this out? Why do you always bring this one out? But I'm trying to show them, that just shows, why am I gonna bring that out when it gets me in warp speed to wherever I want to go, and it's also comfortable as well. And it's big, beefy, people move out of your way. My exhausts are incredibly loud because these don't have cats on this year. People notice you come in and they move. With that on the other hand, just a slimline, but people don't move. This has got bright projector lights. This is comfortable. If I want to tour with it, I can. If I want to ride it all day, I can. Insurance is cheap. If I hit a pothole, I don't have to worry about losing control of my steering, because I have hit potholes with this and it just goes through them with no issue. I'm able to even avoid them on this. Very, very easy compared to that. That steering feels very tight. You know, the behind the bars feel like they don't want to move like they do on the ZZR when you're moving. These feel like I can throw it around. And people think, oh, this is a big bike. You can't throw it around. Oh, no, let me tell you. It's all about the rider. And believe me, I can throw this bike around. How many people are in shock because of how heavy it is? But then saying that, people are in shock the way I throw my Africa Twin around. People were in shock the way I threw the GS around. That's why a lot of the GS riders now, when they're seeing me on the road, they're like, you shouldn't be on one of them. Because I'm not going to sit and lie to you guys. A lot of them have seen me riding at a meet the other day and they're like, you're causing a lot of guys on the GS a bad name, bad reputation. But what do you want me to do? I'm not going to sit here and potter about like an old man. It's the same with this. This attracts a lot of guys in their 50s, 40s. And then you've got me. The way I ride is completely different to them. But then in the same sense, there's other guys that do it on these. The difference is on the GS, there isn't enough people doing that. But that's the whole point. I'm trying to make an example. I'm trying to change the game. Because a lot of people will pussyfoot around riding these bikes being scared of them. I ain't scared. If I die, I die. If I go into a bush, I go into a bush. I don't fear pain. I don't fear death. I don't fear crashing. That's one thing about me, and I've said that since the road. If you're gonna fear any of that, don't ride a bike. It's very, very simple, and it's one thing I don't. And this bike, like I said, is way much better than that. And if you are looking in the market and you're around my age, trust what I'm telling you. Go and buy yourself a ZZR. That is more costly than this, and insurance is higher on that than it is on this. Best believe this is a 1400, yet this will leave that for dust, complete dust. And that's even battery map. But this is a big 1400, pressing at the factory. It's meant to claim 190 bhp, which let's face it, it wasn't. And that is meant to be pressing 190 bhp at the factory. Again, it isn't. It's probably running about 170 at the rear wheel. This is why this is lightning quick anyway, because of that reason. That isn't. Now, if you sit on this one, look at it. Look at the riding position. Look at my arms, how down they are. Like, it's very uncomfortable. You feel like you're putting full strain on the top of your arms here. It's not just your wrist, it's your whole arms. And you got to think when the engine's running, you feel like your head's like too down like this. You saw the difference on my ZZR, the difference how I was sitting compared to this. Look at this. You know, and this bike has been actually heightened because it was too low, especially for me, so I had to heighten it, okay? And it's a lot taller than most S1000s, but it's still very, very uncomfortable. Like, to ride all day, that is much more comfortable than this. I don't know, it just, even the leg position, when you put your legs up, if you see here, and I've got adjustable rear sets on this, I just don't like the rear sets either, like the way your legs are up on the foot pegs. It's just very, very uncomfortable to ride all day. Knees being up this high, like, okay, fair enough against the tank, but it's just very, very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. And I don't know how anyone can sit there and tell me they like ride this. The only reason they're sitting there saying they like riding this is because they think they can speed. That's the only reason. A lot of these people that say, I can ride this all day, every day, I'm 40, because I'm telling you, you're not doing the speed limit. Because doing the speed limit, there's no way possible you would enjoy riding this. People only enjoy riding these when they can bomb it. Now on the track, these are perfect if you want to bomb it. But everyday riding, hell no. Hell flipping no. I'm telling you that right now. These are not a great choice of bike. The only people that will tell you that is the ones who have got no choice but to ride it because it's their only bike. That is the truth. Because this, if it comes to I want power, I want speed, I want to go fast, I want to embarrass people, this is the bike to do it on. It definitely ain't this. Because I've got the pure power of comfort, power, perfect cornering. And what's even better is when I bring this out and people see me on the road and think like this, and I embarrass them on that because they probably think I can't corner as quick as them on this, as people like to claim, because it's big, it's heavy, it's this. But when I show them what I'm made of on this, they get very angry and very pissed off. Do you know how many videos, and I don't want to really share them, because my plate's in a lot of them. But I've got so many videos of people approaching me at lights, getting bare angry, trying to say I was cheating. I'm running this on it. I ain't running nothing apart from a remap on this. Yeah, a lot of these are thinking, oh, they're bike stock and stock for stock, there's no way that can beat them. I didn't say it was stock, it's remapped. It's got the same BHP as you basically got out of the factory. Okay, if not more. So you should be able to beat me. They claim they can beat me. It's not about beating me on, they want to beat me on a straight, but on the corners, you're not going to get me. And I proved that day in, day out, no matter what bike, even on an Africa Twin, nobody's, even my son on a Speed Triple RX, and that's lighter, cannot get me on the corners. I will leave you for dust. It's not a joke. But many people seem to think that they can. So that's why I always like to prove them wrong. And then I shut them up very easily. I'm one of them. It's fine. If you think I can't, I'll happily go and prove it to you. I'm one of them. I like to prove myself. And I do, day in, day out. Because when I do, then I can laugh in your face. And I've always been like that. Same way I've done all my life. Same thing I'm still doing every day. But like I said, this is the bike that many people are going to now. The H2SX, the ZZRs, you've seen a lot of these around, the GSXRs, the S1000R, because it's upright, perfect. XRs is another one, S1000 XRs, GSs, Africa Twins, Tracers, MTs, MT10 is very popular, MT09, why? Yes, and I know you guys are gonna say they're nakeds, but they're upright bikes. Nobody wants this. MT10 is the most stolen bike. The MTs here, MT07, 9 and 10, are the most stolen bike in the UK. If you look up in the UK, what's the most stolen bike? Go and have a look. It's the MTs. The Yamaha, the insurance for them is like, I don't even know how people afford them in the UK. They are the most stolen bike here in the UK. It's not even a joke. Number one most stolen bike. Insurance is through the roof on a premium. That's why I didn't even buy one. I love the MT10, I love the cross-plane engine. But the insurance, no way am I paying that for a bike, no chance. This bike, however, doesn't cost me hardly anything. This, a bit more, it shouldn't really do, but fortunately it's what it is. This is probably one of my cheapest bikes to insure. One of my cheapest. Yet, it's one of the fastest and the biggest. Doesn't make any sense. Really, really shocking. But guys, that is my take on why you shouldn't buy a sport bike and why you should buy a sport tourer or adventure bike. And this is the exact reason, because these are more comfortable to ride in everyday riding than this is. And it's a God's honest truth. I'm not sitting here lying to you. I'm not trying to sell you a bike. Don't buy this one. Go and buy anything. Sport tourer. But go and try a sport tourer and a sport bike and you'll see what I'm saying. They've all got bar risers on them. Most of them have them. If not, they're very, very easy to fit. You can get the dealer to fit them. And you'll see exactly what I'm saying about a sport tourer compared to a sport bike. And you're not losing, you're not sacrificing anything. So you can buy an 1000cc sport tourer like you can a 1000cc sport bike. And it's going to be cheaper on insurance and more comfortable. And you can do a load of things with it. You'll buy the Kawasaki Ninja H2SX Supercharge Sport Tourer. You gain all that power. 200 bhp with a supercharger. And it's a Sport Tourer. You know? You guys have got to weigh it up. Doesn't make sense for sport bikes when you've got sport tourers out there. Really doesn't. But I hope many of you guys have actually enjoyed this video. And if you have, please give it a thumbs up. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.